progress so far. Put a foil vapor barrier on. It just keeps moisture out, or moisture in if there's any in here. Keeps a bit of the heat in as well. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. This is infrared sauna. I had to lower this ceiling. I had the ceiling set too high. They recommend 1950 millimeters, and I had it was over 2 meters. Anyway, well over 2 meters. But also I needed to make little boxes for these. There's a light unit going up here, and then there's an infrared heater directly above us, and I needed to recess them. I thought they were flush mount, and they're not. They need a little bit of a recess behind them, so it's no biggie. It actually works out in my favour. So that's done, and then we're starting cladding now. I don't do a lot of cladding. In fact, I've never done it indoors. I grew up in the 70s, if you know what that was like. I've got a natural aversion to it, so there. If you remember that stuff. So yeah, we're cladding inside, so it's for sheds and saunas cladding, not interior design. Right, cladding. So this thing's got a funny angle. This isn't 45 degrees, it's worse than that. I can't remember what it is now, 130 or something daft like that on the outside anyway. So to find this angle, there's a trim going to cover it, so it doesn't have to be exact, but I'll just use one of these. And then you can pop this in there, set your angle, and the good thing about this one, do that up tight, and now I can just lay it on every piece I need to cut. I've got about 3 more to do, and then we'll have an end one probably that'll be stubby, because there's no way this would have worked out. And even the amount of boards, it never does. Right, well that's the ceiling done. It's a bit dark in here. Apologies for the lighting, there's not an awful lot I can do. Let's get in here. So there's a light unit, it's got just a load of different coloured bulbs basically. And then that's the infrared panel for the ceiling. It's controlled separately, so you don't have to have that one on all the time. I'm going to start looking at the walls now. I'm going to build from the base up, but I'm waiting for the cables to come for the actual heaters, so I can't get too carried away, otherwise I'll clad myself into a corner and not be able to get cables up there without fishing it through with carbon fibre rods. But there, ceiling. On these Zoki saunas, if you buy this kit, you get a quadrant. Well, it's not a quadrant, it's basically a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch timber that's got a rounded nose on it, a ball nose edge I suppose, so that you can then put the ceiling up, clad the walls, and then the trim goes over the join. So if you are got a little bit of gaps, like some of these aren't perfectly cut, you're never going to see it, because there's going to be a wall panel on that bit and then another trim as well. So it also allows you to, on this last one, rather than nail the tongue or whatever you'd call it, you can nail into the edge, because by the time another 20mm piece of cladding goes on and then this trim, your nail's going to be properly hidden. So yeah, nice timber. So what we've done is we've bought a DIY sauna kit from Zoki Saunas here in the UK. They do prefab ones, and you can just buy it, assemble it, jobs are good. But in here, I knew that wasn't going to be an option for us, because being an old house, the walls are wonky, the floor's uneven, nothing's square. So if you put a square peg in a rounded hole, it's not going to end well. So it was always going to be a custom shape to try and get the best out of it. So I went for the DIY option, and basically all I had to build was the frame and this bench. Everything else is pretty much supplied. So you don't need an awful lot, so it's just a sauna. But obviously this door comes from them. This is quite stylish. It kind of fits with the mirror. It's got this frosted look and rectangles. You get the cladding for the walls, ceiling and the floor, and for this bench. You get a control panel that obviously switches the thing on. We went for an option of the ceiling one, but that's separately switched. We've also got a light in here as well. Again, the control panel's got that, and there's a heat adjustment or a temperature adjustment of sorts on the panel. So pretty much everything you need, and all it involved was basically messaging them, sending them the rough dimensions that we thought it was going to be, and then they'll basically design it and say, well, you need a 400 watt here, a 200 watt here, a 400 watt up there, where to position them, and then sort out all your bits. So yeah, that's what we've done, a Zoki DIY kit, and so far I think it was the right way to go. How it actually works, that's another thing, but from the construction side of it, pretty much everything I needed to get this up and running was included, so that's good. Thanks to them. My own money, by the way. I'm not that kind of YouTuber yet, if ever will be. But yeah, Zoki. So this is like the main electronics side of it, like the brains of the outfit, I suppose. Obviously that's a light with a cover for it, and then we've got two, what are they? They're 125 watt panels, so they're for the back. When you're sitting down, they'll be directly behind you. Then there's a 250 watt, which is for your legs, so that goes at the base underneath the bench. And then 400 watts. That one goes on the ceiling, and these two go just in front of you, low down in the corners. And then we've got an egg timer, or a hourglass, whatever you want to call it. What do they call that? What's in this thing? I think that's what it is. Not, I call it an egg timer, but you know the sort of thing I mean. Sand dial or whatever. Aeroplane. There we go. It's a 15-minute timer, I believe. So there's that. And then this is the control panel. So it's basically lights on and off, the roof heater on and off, preheat. I don't know why they call it preheat, but that actually turns all the heaters on. So you put that on, and then this is it's not really a temperature dial. It's more like a power regulator, really, like a dimmer switch, I suppose. It's probably an easier way of thinking about it. The roof one is just hardwired, and I think it's the front ones and the back that are controlled by this, possibly even the one under the bench. But however, so you've got a bit of heat control on it. Fairly simple. It's not a flashy digital thing. It's just a switch on and off. And obviously, if something goes wrong, you just pop it out and change it rather than pay for loads of control panels. But the reason we went for infrared over a normal sauna is in this bathroom. The actual, if I show you, take you through, put some lights on. This cupboard, or the sauna as it is now, was actually like a immersion tank cupboard. So we had a hot water tank in there when we moved in, and also it had an electric shower. So the cabling is already good enough for, I think it's 1.7 kilowatts, which is what this is going to be. So there was that. So from an installation point of view, I didn't have to run a beefier cable from here to the fuse box, because obviously I think a conventional electric sauna with, you know, like hot rocks and steams is about 4.5 kilowatts. And that's the other thing. This should be cheaper to run. But also allegedly, we go back in here, excuse the rubbish, these infrared panels, they're not the cheap ones. They're very, very thin, very, very cheap as well. And they basically just get warm. But these actually emit infrared wavelengths. Is it far and near? I'm not too sure. So they're supposed to be better for you than the cheaper infrared panels. But it's going to be a lot cheaper to run than a standard heater, a standard sauna, and it'll warm up quicker. So we actually won't be using as much while it's on, and it won't be on for as long. So yeah, that's the Zoki kit. And obviously there's poles are clad in, and bits for backrests and trims and stuff, but that's just timber. But yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And these, I'll show you on this one, it's just got like a kettle lead on the back, IEC lead, and there's a little bit of a bit that sticks out. So if you're going down this route, just be aware they're not flush. But all you do is, if you've got a bit of a recess, and then you unscrew this 4 screws, take that out, fix this trim, so you can just screw in behind here, fix that to your cladding or your substrate, whatever you want to do, and then pop that back on and wire it up. So as soon as the cables get here, we'll start doing that. But yeah, that's the kit. I think it was about, I want to say £2.5 grand, but I can't remember now. I was on a lot of painkillers when we did this, and a trapped nerve thing. So yeah, I can't remember too much about it, to be honest. But yeah, there we go. Zoki Sauna kit. Zoki Sauna kit. So the next step, I suppose, really is start on these walls. I want to try and get them all not so much level, but I want the joins to line up, if you know what I mean. So that obviously there'll be a board here, and there'll be a line goes across here, and then goes across here at some point, and along this back wall. So if I set this one all level, and then the floor's a different height, which I suspect it is, I know it is. So I've got to try and figure out that, but there's not an awful lot of work to, not an awful lot of room to work in here, and then set up a camera and film it. So it's going to be one of those look at what I've done kind of things. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. I don't know which wall yet, I haven't got to that bit, but let's start setting that out. Cladding's done, I'm just doing the trims. But what I thought I might share is how to measure an internal measurement with a tape measure. So obviously most people have tried this. You put it up at the top and then bend it round and try and guesstimate roughly how it is. But the easiest way, or I find easy, I mark, if you've got the space, 20 centimetres, 200mm up there, and then all you do is go to the top, come down to your mark, 127, add 20, 147 centimetres, and then we'll cut the trim and it should fit in there nicely. See how that fits. Snug at the bottom. I'm happy with that. Let's nail it. There we go. This is the last panel going in now. I just got 25 meters of, this is 1.5mm flex, and then I bought these IEC kettle leads, I call them, off of Amazon, and they just plug in the back here. So these are already come pre-wired. I did it that way, but I think you can, and don't quote me, I think from Zoki you can actually buy the leads pre-made. I'm not sure, but it wasn't an option for me. I didn't know where I was going to run the cable, so I elected to stick my own in, and they just go back. I've wired these individually, but I think you can sort of wire them in parallel to save on cable, and then they just go back to the control panel. Stick this on. It's quite simple. Just plug this on. If you buy these connectors, these IC connectors, they've got like a legend or a live neutral earth stamped on them, so you shouldn't get it wrong. That just plugs in there, and then these frames you just screw behind where this is going to eventually go, so you can't see these screws. That's what holds it on, and it's quite easy. Just stick that in there. And the good thing about the plugs is if I need to take this off for any reason, or disconnect it or service it or whatever, you just unplug it. You don't have to get in there with a screwdriver and mess around, so that's quite good. And then it's just 4 screws, hold the thing on. So that's the last panel. So this is the finished sauna. All these trims come with the kit. They'll as well as this trims for this backrest, because obviously you don't want to be leaning against that. They're only 125 watts, but they do get hot. And then you've got trims to finish the bench. There's the panel, and then we've got this light. It's 5, I think they're 1 watt bulbs. Excuse the flickering, but yeah, they're red to blue, so it's just a little bit of moody lighting in here. But it's actually turned out quite nice. It looks quite good in here, I think. I managed to get these mitered in all right. That's a funny angle. There was a whole thing on that. But yeah, that's a Zoki sauna kit. And tried it. It seems all right. I'll get used to obviously having a sauna in the house, but hopefully it'll become some sort of routine. But there we go. That's that finished. And obviously the bathroom's finished now as well. I've got a door up there. I've got like push latches on that. But we'll look at that. How I did the hinges, how I hung the Euro hinges on that. But that's come out all right. And there we have it. That's the bathroom finally finished after months of, well, just messing around. It's my drop ceiling. I don't know what you call that. Hallway's next. Yeah, we'll have a break for that first. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this one helps you out. Enjoyed it. Have a look at my other stuff. I'll see you on the next one.